who is a defence and international relations analyst. And now to our next story. In Europe, Rob Jetten has been sworn in as the youngest ever Prime Minister of the Netherlands and its first openly gay leader. His pro-EU D66 party has secured a surprise victory in October, defeating the far-right Freedom Party led by Geert Wilders. Jetten's minority government, confirmed by King Willem-Alexander, faces an uphill battle in a fractured Dutch political landscape. The coalition, lacking a majority in a parliament, needs opposition support for key proposals. Their plans to fund defence spending through cuts to welfare and healthcare have sparked opposition criticism. Jetten aims to improve cooperation though challenges remain in implementing policies like a tax hike and stricter asylum rules. United States forces are expected to complete their withdrawal from Syria within a month, according to Kurdish officials. Officials said US troops have already begun pulling out from a key military base, marking a major shift in the American military presence in the country. The withdrawal comes as US forces have played a central role in operations against Islamic State and in supporting Kurdish-led forces. The move raises questions about regional security and the future balance of power in Syria. US officials have not given a detailed timeline, but have said the withdrawal will be managed to limit risks as regional actors move to fill the security vacuum. Joining us again, we have Saul Sadka, political commentator out of Tel Aviv. Saul, thank you for joining us again.
Good to be with you.
So back in December, we have seen that US officials were killed in an ambush. Later on, strikes have taken place against alleged Islamic State targets. Do you think it's the right time for the US to go ahead with this withdrawal?
It would seem to be worrying on account of the fact it does look like the pressure on the US with the killing of a serviceman is what led to it, and giving that kind of message is not really what any nation wants to be doing in the world, because it encourages further attacks on them. However, my assumption is that CENTCOM knows what they're doing, and if they no longer need to be in the Al-Tanf base on the Jordanian border, then they don't need to stay there. Recall also that the Americans have plenty of assets in the immediate vicinity, including in Jordan. And if they have decided that the Al-Tanf base where the soldiers are being withdrawn from is no longer required, then one has to assume they're aware of what the needs are.
Do you see any repercussions coming about from a full US withdrawal in Syria, as the country is fractured at the moment between the Kurds in the north and the al-Sharaa-controlled south?
You have the Jordani regime, which controls most of the country, and they are trying to integrate the Kurds into the centralized military. You have further ethnic divisions. You have the Alawites on the coast controlling the ports. You have the Druze in the south, who are currently under the tacit protection of Israel. And the desert, the empty desert that makes up most of Syria's territory, has relics of ISIS wandering around in encampments, on pickup trucks, and conducting various raids. And they haven't gone away completely. And as soon as the pushback against them stops, either because the Americans stop, or because the Syrian regime is unable to stop them, then they will build up increasingly, as has always been the case. So one only hopes that CENTCOM, who are the people responsible from the American army for the region, knows what they're doing when they're doing this. In the recent last era, they have done some impressive things, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that in the long run, we will see a continued attrition of ISIS, even if the Americans are no longer on the ground in Syria itself.
Okay, and do you believe that al-Sharaa will be able to handle the this ethnic infighting that we may see after a possible, after the US withdraws?
The US withdrawal is not really related to the ethnic infighting itself. The US presence there is to deal with ISIS and to prevent them polluting, let's say, into the Iraqi and Saudi and Jordanian region. if ISIS were to spread south from where they currently are being pinned down by the American presence, that would be very bad news for everyone in the region. But the ethnic divisions are a separate problem that al-Sharaa probably is totally incapable of dealing with, only on account of the fact of its history and various bad bloods, and also the fact that, for example, the Alawite minority has been ruling the country until a year and a half ago for 50 years with an iron fist under one of their kinsmen, Assad, and then his son. So there's a lot of bad blood between all these groups. We have seen that just in the past 18 months erupt a number of times, and there really is no prospect of that ever stopping, realistically. One can only hope that Syria, but also Lebanon, finally unshackle themselves from the European colonizer-imposed borders that they currently live within, that ties all these minorities and religious groups together in a chaotic soup of continual bloodshed, and decide to, at the very least, create some kind of federated system to allow them to each have responsibility for their own ethnic and cultural division, that at the very least will provide a modicum of a solution to allow them all to deal with each other without resorting to bloodshed. But right now, because they're all forced to live together and deal with each other within and under the same government, you end up with continual clan rivalry, ethnic violence. Everyone is fighting for the same parts of the pie and for control of the central government. Until that is divided up some way, that will continue.
Saul, thank you so much for your comments and for joining us today. Now,